Good morning and welcome to the Spokane City Council study session for Thursday, October 13th. We are going to get some information from the administration on the track service provider agreement so that we can get that enacted hopefully on Monday, and also the 2023 budget regarding homeless funding strategies. But before that, we have some guests here to give us a presentation on what's going on currently with refugee resettlement practices in Spokane. And Alex Gibilisco from our office is going to set the table for that. Alex.
Yeah, so good morning, Council. So we originally had scheduled this for early September during Welcoming Week. Welcoming Week is celebrated locally and nationally in September, and Welcoming Week brings organizations and communities, bring together neighbors of all backgrounds to build strong connections and affirm the importance of welcoming and inclusive places and achieving collective prosperity. So we're hosting our two local resettlement organizations. They're here to share the overview of their programs and update on our current resettlement numbers. I am hoping that this can lead into conversations of how we welcome our new neighbors. So with that, we have Chrissy Armstrong, Director of World Relief, and Margaret Hinson from International Rescue Committee. And I believe also Jordan Bemis is present here as well.
Good morning, everyone. I am Christy Armstrong, the Executive Director of World Relief Spokane. I've been on staff at World Relief for a little over 9 years and just came into the Executive Director position in May. And I am so happy to welcome our new colleagues, Margaret Hinson from IRC, and we're very, very grateful they're part of the community. If I may, before we start with figures and facts and statistics, if I could take a moment just to bring you into the human piece of refugee resettlement. So imagine right now you're here, you have the weight of the city of Spokane resting on your shoulders, many things to attend to, and things that will affect people's lives. Imagine someone coming in the door and telling us, you have to leave now, you're under attack, your lives are in danger, you have to go. Your thoughts would immediately go to your families, your friends. How will I gather my children? How will I find my wife? How will I find my husband? What about my mom and dad? And yet you have to go now. That's what happens with refugees. They aren't people who are choosing to come to Spokane or any other place. Their lives are in danger. And they, in a moment's notice, quite often, they have to do what you're doing right now in your mind, figuring out, how can this be? And deciding whether to run away or run to family, friends, all of those things. My question for this city council is, as we begin this presentation, is what would it take for you to do just that? To leave some of your extended family, this position that you care deeply about, all of your belongings, your livelihood, to go somewhere where it might be safe, in the hopes of someday finding a place where you might be able to start rebuilding a life of dignity in a peaceful place. That's what refugees experience. That's the people that come through our doors, people who have come with whatever they can gather, and they come hoping that this city will say, you're wanted here. You belong here. We'll find a place for you. They're people who really want a better life. They aren't coming here to take. They're coming here to build a good life for themselves, for their children, and integrate into the community and become part of something that's bigger than them. So I so appreciate you giving us time to talk with you this morning, because Spokane is a welcoming city for refugees, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you for letting us be here this morning. I think we can go past that one. World Relief, in and of itself, has been around for over 75 years. We're an international agency in over 100 countries. We're across 100 countries. We've been connecting people like you to the world's greatest need, extending your compassion to millions of suffering men, women, and children. Together with this community and communities around the country and around the world, we're creating change that lasts today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. To this year in Spokane, World Relief Spokane is celebrating 30 years of resettling refugees. We have received and placed over 11,000 refugees in Spokane in the time World Relief has been here. We provide for them that reception and placement services, economic empowerment, where we help them find jobs and get settled and move towards self-sufficiency, integration and wellness. Our Friendship Center is open to anybody, immigrant or refugee, who has needs where they can come and find resources. And we have a church and community engagement department. And with that, I'll give it to my friend Margaret.
Hey, sorry, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
So when you said 11,000 in the 30 years, is that only World Relief, or is that the entire number of refugees that have resettled in Spokane in those 30 years?
Yeah, up until January? April. Up until April, World Relief was the only resettlement agency in Spokane.
All right, thank you.
You can pull that mouse over so that you can use it a little easier.
Thanks for the tip there. So, good morning. My name is Margaret Hinson. I am with the International Rescue Committee in Spokane. We, also known as the IRC. The IRC is an organization that helps people who've been affected by humanitarian crises survive, recover, and rebuild their lives. We are operating in more than 40 countries around the world, and most recently we are in Europe supporting the Ukrainian refugees. In the United States, we have about a network of about 25 offices across the country where we're providing resettlement services and focusing on the kind of the rebuilding and recovering components of our mission. Oops, wrong click. There we go. So IRC Spokane opened in April. We are on Monroe in District 3, just north of Indiana, in the old Monroe Library building. Really beautiful space, and from that space we're providing the resettlement services. We have employment, immigration, health and wellness, and youth programming. And then since April, we've welcomed about 100 individuals, which is about approximately 26 households. So we'll be talking about a few different groups of immigrants today, and just wanted to provide the official definitions of who we're talking about. Refugees are people who have been forced to flee their home, and they cannot return because of a fear of persecution based on one or more factors that include race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a certain group. We also are providing services to special immigrant visa holders. These individuals have worked with the U.S. coalition forces, and so have therefore put themselves in danger and are not safe in their home countries, and so are provided this special pathway to the U.S. We also are serving asylum seekers, and those are individuals who are basically looking kind of for refugee status, for status once they're in the United States. And that's a very extensive process as well that happens within the U.S. We also are going to touch on kind of a newer group for us to serve, and one that you probably become familiar with, called humanitarian parole. And this is the designation that's been given to the Afghans and Ukrainians in the recent crises. And it's really a temporary status that allows them to come into the U.S. and gives them some time to kind of make a case for either they have temporary protection in the U.S. until they can return home, or it gives them some time to apply for status to remain in the U.S. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, but regarding the Afghans and Ukrainians who have received humanitarian parole, they are now kind of being treated they've been enfolded into a lot of the programs that are typically reserved for refugees and the programs that we operate. Now they're eligible for the majority of the services that we typically provide within the resettlement agency. So what we do, World Relief and IRC are 2 of 9 recognized resettlement organizations that have cooperative agreements with the State Department, the federal government. We are providing reception and placement services, which is a 90-day program for refugees. It's very short, and we're delivering very basic but very important services to each refugee within those 90 days. So kind of first and foremost is securing safe and stable housing. And you can, housing is, we're in a housing crisis that's affecting, across populations, but particularly for our clients, it's extremely difficult because they are coming to the country without any credit history, without rental history, very low, limited finances, if any, and sometimes not even any identification document. So it's a real leap for landlords to work with us and rent to our clients. And so we spend a lot of time in the relationship building with landlords and nurturing those relationships. In addition to securing housing, we are registering our refugee families with government entities, so taking them to Social Security and signing them up for benefits through DSHS. They are all eligible for food stamps and for Medicaid, and sometimes for cash assistance with the TANF program. So part of that is actually setting up like the health services for them, taking them to the doctor and showing them how to check in, et cetera. We're right there helping them establish their health care. We also are referring to employment programs. For our agencies, we have those in-house, so they're being referred to employment caseworkers, helping them find jobs, doing a lot of job training. We have quite a network of employers we work with. We are enrolling the kids in school and then the parents in English classes as needed. And then we spend a lot of time on community navigation, helping them understand how to get from one place to another, where to shop if they have special dietary needs, halal meats, or certain produce that they typically eat. So we're out there riding the bus with them from point A to point B, making sure that they feel comfortable navigating and using the bus system. We talk a lot about public and personal safety as well. And we spend a lot of time on kind of what we call cultural orientation, which is like US 101, go over the American systems, like the healthcare system, banking system, financial system, transportation system, of course, and the education system, and then spend a lot of time around social norms. So making sure that they are comfortable and fluent navigating those systems and understand what is appropriate in the U.S. and what is not. So it's a very fast, very quick program, and the expectation is that refugees should be somewhat self-sufficient by that point, but that often is not the case, depending on the populations that we're serving. So our agencies have developed programming past the 90 days. So we both have immigration services, employment, health and wellness, and other services that might be needed depending on the population. And most are eligible for those. Most of that's funded by the federal government, and so that our refugee clients can access those services up to 5 years or so from once they've arrived to the country. Oops, again. So this was a very strange and crazy year for resettlement agencies, and Oh, Jordan, there you are. Yeah. Jordan Bemis from World Relief can speak firsthand since IRC opened up a little bit later. Jordan can speak firsthand to kind of how crazy this year was since he was at the front lines of it.
So I've worked for World Relief for 10 years. I've worked in resettlement, that's that first 90 days. I'm the resettlement director. I work with our case managers. We're meeting families at the airport and then working with them for their first 90 days, providing all these services. So kind of to give you a little snapshot of this last year, a little over a year ago, it was just me and one caseworker. And because of the previous administration, refugee resettlement in the United States, like the infrastructure was kind of decimated. It had slowed down. The United States was not welcoming as many refugees in the past. But then the Afghan evacuation crisis happened. And all at once, thousands of Afghans were being flown to the United States, and they were being matched with resettlement agencies to welcome them and provide services. So as me and this other girl, we are hiring, we're training, and we're receiving 350 Afghans within a 4-month period. And that's a typical year amount for us. So it was very crazy year. But we were able to hire good people. These families were resilient. We found housing for everyone, which was a miracle. But it was definitely a challenge this last year. And then the war in Ukraine happened. And so a lot of the Ukrainian parolees were coming to Spokane because there's a large former Soviet Union population here in Spokane. So many family members and friends, when they heard they were allowed to come to the United States, they came here to Spokane. So a lot of them, they're now able and eligible to receive services from resettlement agencies. But it has been a very crazy year, and it's been a year unlike any other. So that's kind of what it's looked like now. And now, now that we've been able to hire staff, now that IRC is here, there's a lot more infrastructure. There's a lot more support in Spokane to serve these new families. And we want to see that grow because these families, they are adding so much to Spokane. Like Margaret and Christy said, they're not here to take, they're adding value, adding culture, adding language. Since I've been here 10 years, it's so fun to see the kids grow up now, graduating from college, they're citizens, getting married, starting businesses. Seeing that process is pretty sweet.
So a few stats for you, and we're happy to answer more any questions regarding the Afghan program as well as the Ukrainian program. We're leaving more time for questions rather than kind of getting too technical. But just at a glance, this past year, which we're on the federal fiscal year, so October 1 through September 30th, Spokane received about 650 refugees, and that includes those Afghan humanitarian paroles. So you can see the breakdown: 300 refugees, 350 Afghans, and it was very much World Relief who carried that burden. Next year, we are expecting between the two of us to resettle about 800, to bring about 800 refugees to Spokane. That would be about 600 for World Relief and 200 for us. IRC is still waiting to hear back kind of on our final number, but that's what we proposed and we feel would be a reasonable number for Spokane, given our experience at the last year. And then just a couple stats about the Ukrainians. So Washington State is one of the top receivers of the Ukrainian parolees. We currently have about 9,000 in the state, and we think we're estimating about 1,000 who are in Spokane now. The state office expects another 800 to 1,200 per month to come into the state, and it really is primarily over in kind of Puget Sound. So I'm not sure exactly how that breaks down for Spokane, but we definitely are still continue to expect them to come in the next year or two. The populations that we resettled this past year primarily was Afghans, as you can see, and then and this doesn't include the Ukrainian parolees, but then the next big group was Syrians and Congolese, and then the Ukrainians that are listed there, they're coming through a different pathway. Oops. So I won't go through the list of challenges. A lot of these are challenges that are experienced, across populations outside of refugees. Housing is first and foremost for us, like others. But we did want to just plug the childcare piece. I know this has been a focus of councils, and we appreciate all that you're doing to increase childcare resources. This is particularly important for our refugee moms who are often the ones who end up staying home because there isn't the childcare for them to go to English classes or to get the jobs. And so that can definitely lead to social isolation. And so we're always looking for ways to help them access childcare. Do you want to highlight anything? Yeah. No.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please.
You mentioned next year you're going to bring in around 800 folks. Do you know what that
Possibly.
translates to in terms of housing units? And do you guys kind of have a pretty good network of housing units so that there's no real struggle in identifying those once you have folks here?
Yeah, I'd say, so for IRC, if we were settling 200, I think we're expecting that to be about 40 households, 40 units. And then I'm not quite sure. We've had really big families, so which is also very challenging. But we spend a lot of time with that relationship building with landlords. We're also working together to resettle outside of Spokane, being strategic about kind of like where else we can go outside the city, kind of proper. So Spokane Valley, Airway Heights, Cheney are big communities for us. Do you want to?
For us, it's probably going to be 150 to 200 households. And for housing, when we're looking for housing, we're looking for, it's market rate. We don't get like any special deals or anything. These families are moving into market rate places. And then we're telling them, hey, you got to get jobs right away to be able to pay for this. And on average, our families are getting jobs within 4 to 6 months and able to pay their bills, which is pretty amazing.
And then one more quick question. Sorry, is there any an organization or you guys perhaps that kind of does any sort of tracking to follow up? Once folks have been here for a period of time, are they still living in Spokane County? Kind of what their situation is? Do they need additional assistance? Is there anything like that?
So the state does some tracking based off of welfare applications of who stayed. Other than that, it's our connections with the families because we're still working with them up to 5 years, helping them through the permanent residency citizenship process. So we are connected to them at least for 5 years. But other than that, we see many new families that weren't resettled to us come to Spokane because they hear just that there's housing, there's jobs. Spokane's a great welcoming place. But we also see families move to Iowa,
Right.
Ohio, other places as well. So,
Thank you.
And they do have to report every move that they make until they become citizens.
to immigration.
Yeah, to immigration. So there is some it's disjointed, but there is some. And that concludes our very brief, quick presentation to you. Happy to answer any questions you have. We wanted to thank you for your support. We really appreciate the immigration, the investment you've made the investment you've made in interpretation for city resources. And we wanted to also give a shout out to our key partners, Refugee Connections, Thrive International, and the Manzanita House.
I have a question. So as we're continuing to receive more refugees, are there some practices that the city has that are either beneficial or detrimental to your process?
That's a good question. Refugees, when they get here, they want to feel welcomed. They want to feel like they belong. So I think any messaging, any public messaging makes them feel welcome. I think that's maybe the biggest piece. And, yeah.
There is one thing that we have had in the past that to me has just been priceless. We've had the fire department and the police department come to World Relief to do workshops, which, because our system is so different than it is in many other cultures, it is hugely helpful to us and to our refugee populations, just to help them understand. Because imagine, in a lot of countries, if you see a police officer show up at your door, oh, it's going to be really, really, really bad. But the police officers from Spokane have done just a marvelous job of explaining how it works and what's appropriate and what's not, and how to stay on the good side with law enforcement, and how helpful the fire department can be to them in so many instances. So that's been great.
Is that still happening? Does that happen okay, great.
Yeah, and I just add, we're really grateful for the participation of your staff in our, we have quarterly meetings, and so Alex is always there, and we appreciate him and his partnership, and he's really great about disseminating information to us, as makes sense. So thank you for that.
Well, I guess I'm glad to hear that we're doing some things right. Are there some things that we could be better at? I know. I'm just curious.
There probably, yeah, we could, I don't think, nothing comes to mind. We didn't come with any big asks. Maybe next time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or I guess I can shoot you an email or give you a call or something. We can talk about it then. But
Yeah, and we'd love to invite you all. We have opportunities for you to engage with our clients and our programming. Come to the airport with us and receive a brand new family. Come participate in a cultural orientation session. And I know you all are pretty accessible in terms of us, reaching out and connecting and clients as needed. So, yeah, we'll definitely be following up with invitations.
Right.
If opportunities like that do come up, can you kind of share those with us just so we can know to participate?
Yep, love to. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Alex.
All right. If we could have Tanya and Jen come up, and let's do the track service provider agreement first, just because that's shorter. And get this status on that contract.
So, I'm sorry, I was under the impression that we were just here to present the financial plan. What do you want to know about the track services provider?
Well, I had an email from Johnny that we have the contract and that I told we'll suspend the rules, but we haven't. So we put it on for Monday, but I'm curious why we haven't, because I was hoping we were going to do it last Monday.
Right, so we currently don't have funds identified to support that contract. So as I mentioned in my first go around where I presented it to all of you, I said it was conditional approval based on an SBO, based on the information that we're going to be sharing today around how we can get that funded. It is not funded through 2023. We have about 2 months of 2022 that could be covered, but going into a contract that extends into 2023 didn't make a lot of sense to me if we don't have the money to support it.
All right, well, I'm not sure where the communication went, but we thought we were just waiting for the SBO to fund them, so.
And I think I've sent several emails,
Okay.
and I'm sorry if that was not clear, but we do not have the funds identified to support that, which is why I put that in my original presentation, that it's conditional approval upon, this group deciding if you're supportive of our funding proposal to help fund these services.
But we could do a funding proposal just for the services, so we just need to figure out which account that comes from for that contract?
We could do a funding proposal separate from all of our other needs, but I do think that that it is more of a global picture, if you will, that we have lots of moving pieces that I think we need to look at as a whole. I think one of the challenges that we've had is as we look at things in isolation, we don't get the full idea of what we need to keep the services that we have going on and to add the services that we need. And that that is some feedback that I think I've heard from you all, is that you want to see that big picture of what our needs really are.
No, that is totally true. But if I understand, we approved the Trent operator contract and we didn't have all the funds identified for that.
I was not part of that. I mean, obviously I work in the CHHS department, but I didn't push that contract through. And
I just want them treated both the same. That's what I'm looking for, is that
Yeah.
they're part and parcel. They go together. Without the services, the Trent's not going to be very successful. So, but I hear you.
Okay.
So I'll let you get to the other thing. So
Thank you.
unless anyone else had any questions about the service contract.
No,
Yeah.
the only comment I want to make is that when you said talking about it in isolation, I just think it'd be really great if we could have some larger discussions before we end up here and we don't, we have questions and you're put on the spot. So I would really hope that whoever's in charge could set up some meetings where 2 or 3 council members could be present, and then 3 more, so it's all of us sitting down, so we all know we're all on the same page. That would just be my recommendation.
Great, thank you. My understanding was that I needed to come through an official study session or a committee to address these issues. If that's something that we can do in a separate manner, I'm glad to set that up.
Thanks.
Council President, just a comment.
Councilmember
So,
Wilkerson.
thank you, Jen. We had, just a reminder, we have been asking for the total package for a long time, and it kept getting kicked down the road for one reason or another, because when the total package came, we could have funded the total package. And so now we have, I'm calling it another knockoff of services that we're trying to provide that has to be funded, but really what pot does it come from? So I look forward to the presentation. I got a list of questions for you, so if you're ready for them to go, I'm ready to ask questions.
All right.
All righty, let's do it.
Fire away.
Do you want to lead off?
Do you want us to wait till the end or interrupt with questions?
Let's just see how organically it flows and what works best for you.
Okay.
Okay?
You can just open the presentation. You don't need to share it or anything anymore.
Well, it's just not. And the intent, City Council, is to answer a lot of your questions. The agenda, we're going to cover a recap of 2022. So we're going to start where we're at right now. The tables that you're going to see have been previously presented, but this is definitely an opportunity to go back through them again. Sometimes you have to see them several times before there's a good understanding. And then also an opportunity to ask about questions about the operations of 2022 and where we're at. Talk about a couple financial goals. Again, this is supposed to be intended to be a dialogue to say, hey, are these your goals too? It's a starting point. We're putting something up there for you to respond to. And then some strategies and tactics to achieve the most immediate goals. And then we'll look at 2022 through 2025. Again, this is a proposal. It's a strategy for local funding and for this conversation to really start to take place. This should look familiar. It's been presented at least 2 other times, both in August and then further back in May. This is just 2022. Many of these programs are going to continue and go forward. Across the top are your funding sources. General fund. So general fund, there are 1.4 million of funding sources coming from the general fund. That is 1 million that was carried over for the way out shelter. And then there's 420,000 that accumulated both from an SBO that happened in, I believe, February, plus the original 150,000 that was already adopted in your approved budget. HHAA, 500,000, that is the amount that you've approved for the way out shelter. Criminal Justice Fund, this is the amount of funding that we are legislatively allowed to have go towards homelessness for this year. We can also have some of it go towards next year. ARPA, you've allocated 3.5 million, I believe in March, that you've appropriated that 3.5 million. And then federal funding, this was, I want to say CFG.
CDBG, CV, and ESG, CV dollars, so COVID.
We can't hear you, Jen.
I'm sorry, ESG, CV, and CDBG, CV, which are COVID dollars.
So those are one-time dollars. And then strategic initiatives. All of those funding sources are one-time funding.
What's the strategic initiatives?
That was a program, Council President, that was set up some time ago with the sale of some proceeds.
Yeah, I don't
It's-
think we've ever, that money's been in reserve waiting for council to come up with programming, so that was not just out there to be spent without coming to council. But there was a couple $1 million of that.
If that comes off the table, then you can see that that will create another problem. It was certainly what we were informed of is that it was intended for homelessness programming.
Proceeds from what? I'm just not familiar.
I'll have to get more information. It's just not right at the tip of my head on that, that I can get all the
I can
background
give you
information.
just a little. So several years ago, in rosier economic times, we identified $55 million that we had in reserves, and we did a complicated bargaining with the mayor and the council over spending money on different things. And some of the money was from selling some properties. But there was about $2 million that was supposed to be set aside for, not for homelessness, but for housing issues. And we've spent a bit of it on a pilot project, but it was supposed to be for some landlord-tenant things and some different things like that, was the understanding at the time. We haven't had any discussions.
So has that just rolled over each year
It's
then?
just been in reserves.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
This was the remaining balance of that
Okay.
from the property sales.
Councilmember Zepone.
Yeah, Tanya, did we allocate that funding from ARPA towards the Trent shelter? Has council approved that?
It was allocated towards homelessness and capital for homelessness.
And our understanding was that was going to go to an RFP for that?
There were technically 2 RFPs, technically 3 RFPs.
There have been RFPs for homelessness from ARPA funding?
Yes.
Did that come to council?
No, those are supposed to come to council at a study session, to make sure that we agree on the terms of it, because it doesn't sound like
We
it
have no idea.
did.
Were there responses?
3.
So the RFP that Tanya is referencing is the RFP that we put out for the Trent shelter and services that we issued 3 separate times. It was my understanding at the time that we issued those is that the funding that was planned for that was those ARPA dollars. I have not been informed of a separate process where that comes here, and
No,
I apologize if we missed that.
Well, I'm pretty sure Councilmember Zepone talked to Eric Finch and said those dollars are an RFP for program proposals, not for a specific proposal.
And we touched base several times from March to June to August with Eric about that funding.
So certainly when he's back, we're glad to touch base with him. I mean, Eric was intrinsically involved in all 3 of the RFPs that went out. He was the division director at the time that those went out, and we did consult with him through that process. So it might be worth having a conversation.
I guess I would just say I don't recall us ever saying specifically, or at least in the conversation I was in, that would go out to RFP. So I think it was kind of broad. But that being said, I think there are questions around using those one-time dollars towards what is an ongoing expense at the Trent shelter. So that would be my inherent concern. I think we allocated it towards homelessness, which is pretty broad and can be interpreted in a myriad of ways. But it's the one-time funding aspect that concerns me.
Well, and Councilmember, we certainly agree with you. There is an intrinsic concern because all of these funding sources are one-time, all of them. And part of it is when the track contract came forward, those full costs of that contract were made clear of what that cost is. And that cost for 2022 is $2.7 million. So this is all the funding that we have available that has been allocated for homelessness. So we would have no choice but to use part of ARPA dollars for homelessness, given the contract that was approved.
Well, but I would say, and I think you're going to get
Yep.
to this a little bit, but I mean, I think that's been why there's been such a push on cost cutting, because there is no sustainability right now in terms of paying for a 10 million a year-ish service. And so we have to figure out how that's going to be sustainable in the long term.
Why not use the criminal justice fund that council allocated?
If you look in this matrix, you see the maximum amount that we can use, 4.45. And if you go down how it's allocated, you will see it's fully allocated and fully used based on everything that has been contracted and approved. There's no more left.
So,
And the priorities were, the priority spending was we used everything else that we had first, and ARPA would be the last resort.
can I,
Councilmember Stratton.
I just, have you brought, are we using, I can't see this very well, are we using CBDG funding anywhere in this?
Yeah, under the federal funding, some of that is CDBG CV, so the COVID CDBG dollars.
But that will give us enough then still to serve our neighborhoods who,
The CDBG CV dollars were a separate one-time pot, so anything that
Okay.
you see there in that criminal justice fund, that's, or sorry, not the criminal justice fund, but if you go over to the starting balance where it says GAP, so we have Canon, YWCA, Family Promise, Truth Ministries, Women's Hearth, VOA, and House of Charity. Those were all funded by COVID dollars, which have gone away. And we tried to come up with a way to keep those beds from going away because we don't want to lose beds in our community, but we also don't have a funding source to replace the COVID dollars that we received from the federal government to keep those beds open.
so what does that do for the neighborhoods? I'm just asking, do neighborhood councils still get their CDBG money?
So
It's a separate
it's
pot.
a totally separate pot.
That's
and,
what I
And
wanna
I do
know.
have an update on CDBG
Okay.
a little bit later that we can
Perfect.
talk through if
Thanks.
that's relevant to the conversation.
Councilmember Zapone.
Can you clarify again what the homelessness impacts are for $750,000?
For the GAP funding specifically?
No,
Is that-
homelessness impacts.
I'm sorry. I'm
That
looking
are
for-
highlighted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
No, great questions. Glad that you saw that. So homelessness impacts are a lot of those around Camp Hope and what is happening there. Those are impacts that the city is incurring, and the city is unfortunately taking on the costs of those. And again, these are the only funding sources to address those very specific homelessness impacts. And that has been also
Sorry. How come
increasing in cost.
like we haven't seen a breakdown of those? I've only seen it in the paper of the costs. How come we haven't seen what those impacts are?
We can certainly get you a report of what those impacts are. And these are just estimates of those impacts. They are accumulating every month. In fact, we have prepared an accumulation through the end of August of actual costs incurred specifically related to Camp Hope.
Can you get a little closer to the microphone so everyone can hear you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you send that out to the council?
Yes.
Well, let's move on. I guess I'll just note big picture. It seems like there's decisions being made that are not coming to council that seems like there should at least be notice, if not, and it's somewhat contrary to what we've set out before in our intent and stuff. But we don't have time today to go through each one of those things, but it's just something we're going to have to circle back on. But continue on.
Can I, yeah,
And no disrespect, you guys have prepared and appreciate that. I would like some one-on-one time because in this venue, it just seems like I'm not getting what I need. And I've got so many questions, and every time I get an answer, that creates more questions. So I would ask for some one-on-one time or one-on-three time, whatever that looks like, so that we can dig deeper. And we don't have time here, but that would be my ask.
And we will certainly schedule some time.
Thank you.
I just have to say, nobody wants to put you two on the spot here. I mean, that's not anybody's intention. Please know that. Personally, I'm not getting enough information, and I feel there's information that hasn't been shared with council. And if I were to be really honest, we would have city administrator and the mayor here, because I know that's who you answer to. So whatever we decide, if we're going to do 2-on-3, I'm happy to do that. But I apologize that you are, I'm proud of you that you're willing to stand here and try and face the battle and answer the questions. But I also know that there should be people joining you at the dais and answering these questions, and I'm sorry they're not.
Well, we will do our best to present, see if it answers some of your questions, and we can certainly schedule more time to go into much more detail.
Member Bingle.
I know that that's not what we're here for, but if we wanted, I mean, the city administrator is here, and if we wanted to ask him questions, we do also have that ability if we'd like to.
It's just, there are so many questions.
No,
that
I hear what you're saying.
There's not
Yeah.
enough time.
Right, yep.
And so this
let's
could
see
have
if we
happened
can.
over a period of days or weeks where we had worked through things, and I just feel a pressure, like you've got to decide right now because crisis mode, when we could have worked through these. And so that's my frustration, and it's not directed at either of you.
Totally. No,
please
I hear
know
what
that.
you're saying. Yep.
I think certainly the key takeaway, and I know there's probably been miscommunication, but this is intended to help connect the dots. Above are all of the allocated funding that has been allocated for these purposes. Down the column are contracts that have also been approved. We are pregnant with this right now. And that's going to be the end result, or very, very near it at the end of '22. So we do have to somewhat move beyond that, and what does 2023 possibly look like, and how do we set ourselves up for success to continue these programs? And many of them have been expanded specifically because of COVID. Specifically and directly because of COVID, and we received millions and millions of federal dollars that were COVID dollars, just like ESGCV, CDBG-CV, specific grants, ARPA, only because of COVID. These are the most immediate goals, at least what we were hearing from you, that we think collectively we need to somewhat tackle. The first is certainly local funding. Just local, not federal. We're still going to get a lot of federal and state funding, and I imagine there's going to be a lot more pressure legislatively on state to give us more state funding to do that. But we're going to talk about just local funding and how we stabilize that to keep these operations going forward. Local funding is never intended to fully fund these programs. Historically, we haven't. Historically, it's come from federal dollars and state dollars again. But we need to also transition to a post-COVID or a post-pandemic operation, and we don't know what that looks like. All of us collectively are flying a little bit blind as to what does that look like, what do we want it to look like versus what is it. And then invest in alternative housing that can be quickly constructed. So this is in part phase 2, which there have been a lot of discussions with DOC of what is phase 2, bringing in pods and pallet homes and such, and then well as other modular or affordable housing units so that we could rapidly get these folks into more stable housing.
So Tanya, I've always been in support of the modular affordable housing. That has not been the position of the administration, unless I'm totally been hearing the wrong information, that the administration was not in support of tiny or modular homes.
I think they are at Trent, and that's what
Trent
I'm getting from
for
that.
that.
Yeah.
So are you specific to that location only? I'm not, that's just a clarity question. You can get back to me, but I would need that clarity, Councilmember Cathcart, where this would take place at.
Actually, Councilmember Wilkerson, this is just bigger to say, let's just put some goals on the table
Okay,
and then
okay.
work down into some details after this. But if we at least have 2 big immediate goals that we can work
Okay.
on, we can have hopefully more productive conversations.
Thanks.
So in terms of stabilizing operations, you might already be aware that we are seeking to get reimbursement from DOC for those folks that are moved off of Camp Hope into the shelter system. That could provide almost $1.5 million.
So I thought that DOC was not going to fund anything that we didn't own.
Go ahead.
They will fund operations. They cannot fund anything capital related on property that we don't own.
Okay.
And is there an agreement on 1.5, or is that what we're just hoping that they'll?
We're working on that now. So that might provide some of that relief for us that we're looking for. And we're not using the ARPA dollars. But yeah, movable capital, there's also the additional of 1.5 million for movable capital. So to your point, Councilmember Kinnear, it can't be anything that we don't own, but can it be movable, modular? They're open to that. But we were working on that. Now here's really the big one, and this is really just, we want to put something out there for you to respond to and start working on. Providing local funding. Again, we don't provide local funding. We haven't, but we do have a source. And what we're suggesting right now for discussion is to provide local funding at 100% in '23. And then it comes down to 75 in '24, and then down to 40% in '25 thereafter, where we then start to have the community conversation of our local funding, and it is limited. Even if we say right now it's limited, it's still limited to only what we get, just like our federal dollars are limited to only what we get.
How are you describing, I'm sorry, how are you describing local? What is local? What is local?
Okay, so hang on.
Okay.
Local is the $1590. That is the only local that we have.
But I thought we weren't supposed to spend that on, we didn't want to spend that on homelessness,
No.
right?
That's housing?
That's for housing.
Yep. But we have criminal justice.
For one more
funds
year.
For one more year.
Again, it's not sustainable. It's one time.
Yeah.
1590 can be used for homelessness services. So I want you to just keep that in mind. I know your position. I understand your position, and we're going to kind of go through this a little bit more, but it is our only local funding source.
But I just want to be clear on 1590. When that came to a vote, nobody talked about using that for homelessness, and so I don't think the public ever had a perception that that was going to be the use of the dollars. So I would want to make sure there's a pretty big public engagement effort before any consideration of that would ever be had.
And those services were to be provided as support services in the housing units that were being built. Transitional housing, but not as administration is describing at this time. So that would be in total conflict of that vote we took. But go ahead, Tanya. Thank you.
Well, the third point here is also very, very important, and certainly something for your consideration. A policy or an ordinance that limits the amount of local funding per bed and requires a match. This is one of the things that we've seen certainly during the pandemic and then post-pandemic. If you look at what the cost per bed is pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, there is a dramatic difference. And we're plugging a lot of holes, a lot of gaps for very good reasons. But that's where this post-pandemic environment, we don't know what it looks like, but some limits do need to be set because we only have limited funding, even what comes to us from the feds.
On that, are there other cities or jurisdictions that do that very same thing?
I'm sorry, that do what?
That do that, a limit
that
per
limit.
bed or require a match?
So we have seen that. We've even seen that through Department of Commerce, where they have had in the past a reimbursement per bed. I will say there is some challenges for organizations operating under that, but I think that we're continuing to try to solution how do we pay for something that we don't have 100% of the dollars for, and how do we encourage our partners to help join us in that search for funding.
Yeah, and then when you say the match, who would you be asking to match those dollars from the city based on the money that we're getting?
So with our current federal programs, like any of our HUD COC dollars, the organizations that receive funds are required to provide a 20% match for that. So we would be looking to see, can they provide a match for the dollars that we're giving them to support the operations of those programs.
And so then they would just be soliciting donations or something to come up with that 20% right there? Okay.
Yeah.
have a question, comment, statement. Continuously, this council has supported asking our partners, other municipalities, to contribute, and we've come up zero. And this is probably the most critical time for them to step up and help. This is not a Spokane problem. It is a regional problem. But we're bearing the brunt of the cost and the brunt of the impact. We absolutely, it's up to the administration, or if you need council help, to go to those other municipalities and say, you've got to step up now. We can't continue to do this on our own. And that's what I'm having more and more angst looking at this, thinking, we're being asked to do everything without anybody stepping in or pitching in to help. And I don't know how we can face our taxpayers and our constituents and say, hey, this is our problem, when it's not. It's regional. So I urge us all to think about ways we can engage other municipalities. We can't keep doing this.
I think we should have a joint meeting with those other municipalities and actually have a public dialogue around these issues. Because until
Whatever
there's a
it takes.
public conversation, I just don't think
Absolutely.
anyone's going to
Because
commit
it's
to
not a
anything.
regional approach, and I know that's been out there in the community, that, oh, we have this regional approach. We don't.
We don't.
We've talked about it. I'd be great. I'd
Yeah.
help you do that if that's something you want to do, but it's never been regional, and we've asked for it for a long time.
Sorry, just had to throw that out there.
So back to affordable housing, alternative and affordable housing. So here's some things that we've been working on, we have out there, which is part of why the proposal is drafted the way it's drafted. So we have $6 million of home ARP dollars. So this is still coming from the same act, specifically dedicated for home. These dollars cannot be used for homelessness services, but they can be used for affordable housing. We also have $3 million or more, potentially. $3 million is what we were projecting several months ago, but we have $3 million, possibly $6 million still of $1590 that have not been used. We also have $6 million of CDBG dollars. So we have significant amount of funding for affordable and supportive housing services. What we don't have is homelessness funding.
But Tanya, on that, can we use those $6 million in home dollars for home ownership opportunities? Because $1590 can be.
Home ARP dollars cannot be used for home ownership.
Okay.
CDBG does currently work. We do fund some programs through Habitat for Humanity through that, yeah.
So these home dollars and the other 3 million, are those funds that should have been spent? Or are we in a time frame to get that money out the door? Because we know we've received letters of we're not in compliance. Our funding may be cut if it's not spent. Is there a plan deeper than this one, high level? Thank you for this. Is there something else going on that's engaging that money to be out the door to meet the qualifications that's required?
Yes, so absolutely. On October 20th, next week, we have a neighborhood meeting, or a community meeting, I guess it's broader than, it's the whole community is invited, to talk about priorities for the home ARP dollars, our home dollars, and our CDBG dollars going forward. And we're planning on releasing an RFP in late November, probably early December, to get those dollars out the door.
What, the $3 million for 2021 and 2022, what are the projects that we're not going to do that we have done in the past? What are the areas that would have been spent on? I'm not saying I'm against spending on housing at all, but I'm just wondering, because that's what we're going to hear back from our constituents is, oh, we didn't get this year because you're putting in housing. So what are the types of things that money has been spent on before 2021 that we forego?
CDBG dollars can be spent essentially on anything that benefits neighborhoods that are low income or impacts low income individuals. So it's a pretty wide ranging opportunity for different types of projects. And we've seen in the past different things come through where, you know, a neighborhood will put together in conjunction with parks a request to upgrade playground equipment, or to do something with sidewalks, or to fund community centers, things like that. So I will say that the thing, and this is really important to note as well, is that we put together a consolidated plan that we are supposed to identify priorities for the funding that we have, and then those funding priorities, we have to report out on our outcomes. And through this, our funding priority has been identified as affordable housing, and we have not necessarily been funding projects that have been that can be directly linked to affordable housing, and that lowers our points, if you will, from HUD when they're looking at, okay, you're reporting out on your plan and how you're doing on your plan, but the projects that you're funding, while eligible costs under CDBG, do not necessarily align with the plan that you've told us you're going to utilize. So we can do all of that, and that's one of the reasons that we're having this community meeting, is to really get the priorities from all of our community members about how these dollars should be spent and how we can link them to the plan and have that conversation.
Did those invites go to council too?
I will make sure that they get sent out to you.
Okay.
Yep.
And my other quick question, and this probably is, I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I have to ask.
Okay.
We probably should think about, if the sheriff is going to close Camp Hope, which is, you know, one of the elephants in the room today, how much money we save. I mean, if he goes in and clears out Camp Hope, we might be able to save a whole bunch of money if Camp Hope closes, and maybe we save that money and put it somewhere else. I mean,
You don't have to comment on that. Councilmember Wilkerson.
I just feel better saying it. Thank you.
Yeah, just throw that grenade. On the CGB funds and neighborhoods, and I know a couple years ago, they restructured that program, and neighborhoods have struggled to understand that program. Is that part of the barrier why you're going back to this neighborhood engagement piece?
So I think one of the reasons that we're wanting to do the neighborhood engagement is so that we can get kind of that broad overview, because it's not just CDBG dollars that we're talking about. We're talking about the home ARP dollars, and we're talking about the home dollars as well. So we're really combining all of those into a single meeting / time period that folks can provide input on. I know that there's been a process that has been confusing, and we have talked with the neighborhoods and with the CA about that. They are still, their priorities are important. They're still being, you know, input. We're just not going to run two separate processes. We need to run one process, and we need to do it on a really tight timeline. So typically the neighborhood process through the community assembly can take up to 6 months, and we don't have 6 months to go through that process. So we're trying to combine several different processes into one so that we can get this money out the door and get spent.
But I'm trying to, if I understood you, and I might not have, but it sounds like our written plan is we're prioritizing most of the money up there for housing, but we haven't been doing it necessarily. So we're going to go to them and get their input, but are we going to listen to it? I mean, that's because what the proposal here is, no, let's all in for housing with these dollars. And if they say, no, we want sidewalks or something else, I'm just wondering how we're going to use their input if it doesn't. I mean, we make the decision at the end, so that's fine, but I'm wondering about the potential cognitive dissonance there that might come up.
Thank you. So our plan really is to focus on priority populations to be served. So I think that that's a good way to broker the conversation, because, like, you know, you could say that a sidewalk is legitimately helping people get into housing, connecting people to housing. It's a needed thing for people to access housing depending on a population. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of linkages to projects that we've done in the past to be able to say, yes, this meets the need, this can roll up. I think we're trying to be a little bit more specific about referencing and saying, this is the plan that we have submitted to HUD that says this is how we're going to use the dollars. We're asking you what your priorities are and how do you think that connects and what populations are we trying to serve. So if the population that we think is really vulnerable that we want to work with is elderly folks and elderly folks need new sidewalks, like let's do that, right? But trying to really connect those dots instead of having kind of the separation of different. We're trying to bring it into one.
So your feedback is not, are we redoing the plan? It's, we want your feedback on how to implement the plan to the letter of it from them.
Yes.
And then, but we take their comments and their suggestions seriously, and we treat them like they I mean, hey, I've worked with seniors in neighborhoods that really need sidewalks fixed because
Absolutely.
they're fallen and they're hurting themselves. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that neighborhoods don't feel like they're put aside. The other thing I'll say, which I have to say and I'll get in trouble, but again, if we do this big sweep of Camp Hope, the other issue you're going to deal with on the 20th when you talk to these people is that fear of people moving into the neighborhoods. And how are we going to protect those parks, those alleys, the schools from 400 people that are going to be swept out, and we're not sure they're going to go to, and the river. So that's a piece that needs to be, I think, hit head on.
If I could, I don't want to minimize what the neighborhood has been using the CDBG money for in the past. Sidewalks aren't just for elderly people, they're also for moms and dads with small children and do not able to get to school and do not want to walk in the street, or, you know, it's dangerous. So I think we have to be really careful not to minimize what the neighborhoods need and have been used to getting in the past. We have to take them seriously and what their needs are very seriously, and not tell them what they need.
Absolutely, and I just want to reiterate that's why we're having this, and that is our goal, is to gather that feedback and to take that seriously. I think the one thing that we do have to do, though, is, and we do open our consolidated plan to the public to provide that input as well, but we are required to submit a plan to HUD of how we're going to spend the dollars, and then we have to provide a linkage. So I totally agree. I think sidewalks are important, and I do think that there's a linkage to housing. We just have to be able to provide that linkage, and we have to talk about it as a whole instead of kind of these individual smaller parts, so that we can report that back to HUD and tell them what we've been doing with those dollars.
And I'll let Councilmember Wilkerson go, but just to insert that we have created a whole nother fund of money for doing sidewalk things for the sidewalk advocates.
yeah.
But go ahead.
That's just an example.
Yeah, no, I know. I know.
So I appreciate the community engagement because I was at the dog park meeting last night. So you're going to invite the neighborhoods in to weigh in on this plan. You'll be there, but these are neighbors that have no subject matter expertise in government funding. Really, they will think or presume like they're just here for cover for the city. Like we did our community engagement, but really we already had a plan. And y'all are just coming up to validate that we did community engagement, because you're going to have such a broad array of comments. I don't know how you'll even be able to distill that down to get enough information to move forward, especially if you're only having one meeting. I don't know how many you plan, but if it's just one, I don't think you're going to get there. And again, I know it's part of the process, but I think you'll be challenged to get any information that will be helpful in any meaningful way to go forward.
So definitely, it's going to be a challenge, and luckily we have some longtime staff members, George Dahl, who's going to be helping facilitate, as well as some of our other newer staff members. Really what we have kind of come up with is that focusing on priority populations is a good way to start. And we did this with the affordable housing RFP in conjunction with the Housing Action Subcommittee, where we tried to identify populations to be served. So we can have a broad brush, overarching, this is what we want to fund, but it's easier to determine if something is in line with that, or whether or not it's a stretch if you can identify a population. So our goal is to break up populations essentially around the walls, where people can go up and they can sign their name under, this is the population that I believe is a priority for my community, for my area, and these are the folks that we need to be helping and assisting, and then that will be noted in the RFP, and then folks will be able to apply for those dollars based based on those priorities that are identified.
So,
Cathcart.
can I just ask, how are you going to identify these different populations? Is it based on income, where they live, race? I mean, what's the socioeconomic? How are you doing that?
So I had a chart that George showed me earlier, and I didn't bring it. I apologize. I didn't think I'd be talking about this quite as much, but it breaks it down essentially by age. Like, I think we have disability, we have income levels, we have historically excluded populations. All of that is included in his chart, and we're going to kind of have them blown up. And I really liked the idea of having people be able to sign their name under the priority, because then we can link to and say, like, yes, this person, if they want to, they don't have to sign, I guess they could just make an X, supported that, or, it just gives us a little bit more, instead of just, I stood up at a meeting and I said it. If somebody calls me and said, did you hear me? I can say, yes, I see that you listed this as a priority. Here's where it fell in the shakeout of the overall public comment.
And when is the plan due? When do you have to have it in?
So we're doing this to inform our RFP process. So the plan that we have for HUD, our consolidated plan, has already been submitted, and that public comment period has already been closed. So at this point, we're not making adjustments to that plan. We are just using that plan to guide our RFP process going forward.
So add a quick clarification. I think I'm understanding this right, but this funding that you're talking about here is the funding that John Hall said that we could potentially be missing the window. And you're saying the next step is that community outreach, so we're moving forward and not missing the window.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. So, and we've been working on this plan, and I know that obviously he had those concerns, and we've been working on this plan throughout his tenure as well, to get this figured out. And there's been a wide variety of things that contributed to that. One of them was that we had staffing issues, which is no surprise to anybody here. And then the second thing is that we have an income generating program that's part of our CDBG program that actually brings income in. And because of our current housing market, we had a large volume of loan payoffs, which increased our program income. Mm-hmm. If we had not had that program income issue, we probably even would have slid under the radar, even with our lack of staffing. So now that we are more appropriately staffed up, we need to get this RFP out, and we need to start spending dollars January 1st so that we meet our timeliness goal by May of next year.
Okay, can I ask Tanya to get to the homeless spending strategy? I got a couple questions there before our time runs out.
Okay, homelessness strategy. So this is what it could look like. You see 2022 projections, and I'm starting with, these are all of our sources of funding. It's very similar to what you saw before, but then you're stretching it out into 23, 24, 25, and you will see those are like one-time sources. So they're really not there in those out years. Again, just assuming if you so choose, because we have $6 million, we have many other funding sources for affordable housing. If you selected to put all $6 million, we roughly get about $6 million, 100% of that funding towards homelessness just for 1 year, in 23, plus criminal justice. So we're not out of the woods yet. We still have to use criminal justice, and we can use that for 1 more year. And it would not fully deplete the criminal justice reserves. It would still leave a few million there. We would have about 10.8 million, which is close to what we need. It's not 100% of what we need. This is just what we can afford. This is what we have limited funding. In addition to this, we would still get federal funding, but the amounts of that are unknown. State funding is unknown. And then you can see no criminal justice fund in 24, no criminal justice fund in 25. We're not allowed to use that. And then local housing, 1590, tapered down to only 75% in 24, tapered down to no more than 40% in 25. But then clear messaging still has to occur on the expenditure side. We are limited in what we can pay and how much we have. So you can see Cannon operations. We could only fund about $2 million for Cannon. We could fund the 6.5 million for Trent. That is what we've presented to you as full Trent operations, including the Revive contract for wraparound services.
Just a quick question on Cannon. We own that building, right? That
Yes, sir.
property. And so if Commerce is willing to put money towards something we own, I understand from previous conversations with Mike Shaw that with a little remodeling in that building, we could be incredibly more efficient and house more folks there. And so has there been thoughts about changing the Cannon structure a bit and using some Commerce, working with Commerce on doing that?
I can only speak for me, but.
I have not had those specific conversations, but that's certainly something that we could engage with them with. I think the only issue we would have is needing to make sure that anybody from Camp Hope was going to that specific location versus
Okay.
the Trent location where
I
they're
see.
currently at.
Gotcha.
So just on the Cannon Shelter, over the next 5 years, how are you explaining this significant drop in cost? That's one.
And increase too,
An increase too.
from this year to next year.
Exactly. And then what's environmental shelter operations? What is that? Is that still Camp Hope?
Environmental
weather.
shelter operations are warming and weather.
So Mr. Hall said with the Trent shelter that there wouldn't be any additional cost before he left for warming and cooling. We can go back and look at the tape. And so I was just surprised to see a line item budget for that over the next 5 years.
Councilmember Wilkerson, that could be slightly less. We normally have put in 150,000, or at least we started last year to include 150,000 for warming and cooling centers. Additional days, if we're having water, if we have, like what happened this year that didn't happen last year, the libraries are open. But there's increased security that we pay for when the libraries are open for extended hours. So it may not be additional cost at TRAC or some of our shelter operations, but there could be additional costs, and that's kind of what we saw this year, related to extended library hours or other facilities, city facilities that we're using.
Just on that note, that's confusing because that's not what John Hall said. But just to go back to the Cannon Shelter, if you can explain how you came up with those numbers.
Okay, so yes, and you will see even on some of those others where Trent go down. No, this is limited funding, local funding into those operations. It will require those operations, again, back to the policy suggestion, that we limit the amount that we pay per bed, and a matching is required. It will require our providers to search out other funding, could be from other regional partners, other regional governments. But this is just the amount of local funding that we would put towards those operations. It is not the full cost of operating those operations.
And so why was Cannon double for next year?
The reason for that is because the dollars that we're referencing in that left column were only for the 6 months because they were funded all the way through June 30th of 2022. So the 1,024,301 was a 6-month cost. The gap funding of 1,677,783 was also a 6-month cost.
So it says 2022 projection, but that's not an accurate number then. So the actual total number is another $1 million for...
Those were the 2022 projections of city funding that went into those operations.
Okay.
Just for my clarity, so when you're talking about the matching on the beds, we're basically saying that the city will commit to a certain amount, but the providers that we contract with they will have to go out and essentially find their own means of paying themselves. So I'm just wondering, what's to stop them from just walking away from that sort of deal is my question.
Yeah, I think that that's a great question, and I'm really, I guess, looking for, suggestions and guidance from you all as well. What we know is that we have more need than ever, and we had an influx of dollars through COVID that we cannot replicate, and we don't want to close shelter beds, and we have to figure out how do we continue to pay for all of these costs without doing any reductions. And we can do that a variety of ways, as Tanya's already talked about. I think there's challenges with all of the options that we have unless anybody just wants to write a check to us for, $12 million a year or so, which would be another option. Anybody out there listening? Send us $12 million.
Yeah, and I think this is just in line with what we're doing with the rest of the city budget when we're looking at it. We realize that either there's, a cut in service or there's cuts somewhere. And this is, I think, what's being proposed here is that we recognize that these services are important. We just don't have the money anymore to fund it. And so how do we then come up with it? I think this is a clever idea. I'm really interested to explore it more because, again, if this is something that the community is honestly wanting us to fund, then I would imagine that the community would be willing to step up with their own dollars to help fund these. And if the community is not willing to step up with their own money to fill these dollars, then maybe what we're funding is not what the community wants, which would be, an interesting statement in itself.
I have no idea what you just said, but I'm going to respond.
I'll say it again.
No,
For
everything we choose to cut or not fund, there's going to be a consequence. Okay,
Right.
so there's going to be a cost down the road. So was it you? Karen? Somebody said, all right, if we're going to be sweeping Camp Hope, if we're not going to be funding these, then we're going to have to deal with homeless folks in our community, in our parks. We're going to have to deal with that. That comes at a cost. So you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And that's why this is so difficult. And that's why I keep pounding my fist and saying regional approach. And I know Mr. Perkins has some thoughts on that. I want to meet with him later and talk about that because what we're doing now is not working. So we need to come up with something that is sustainable and that doesn't have long-term costs down the road that are going to be more than what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and I think that fits perfectly in line with what I was saying. And I think this is where, what's being presented to us is it's not sustainable. Here are some options to maybe help us get closer to sustainability. And so that was
the
my
question
comment,
is, to go back to the global, is this is only one part of the budget that affects the most vulnerable in our community. And I think you'll hear from us later, not at this meeting, we want to see the same approach across the budget and say, okay, what reductions are we going to make in all areas of the budget to do that? So just to put some bigger context on that.
Just one comment on this funding sources. There's been a lot of talk about the role that businesses could play or would like to play. Even if there had been zeros across the board, I think they should have had a line item business in there to be a part of the solution. So I don't know where those conversations are with the administration and business leaders, even if they're ongoing, business and philanthropic organizations. They also have a part to play as well. So,
Thank you for saying that. I agree.
My question is, has there been discussions of other revenue sources beyond the ones that have been presented to us that you've considered and rejected for some reason?
These are the only available sources.
Unless we do a
Unless
ballot.
you,
Yeah. Has
Yes.
there been discussion about doing a ballot measure to see if the community needs it? If we need more revenue, has there been discussion around that? Or the utility tax dollars too? That's a regional dollars that could go to a regional approach. Has there been discussion about that? Going to our regional partners and asking them about that?
that would certainly be a discussion that we would bring here, not that the administration would have.
I mean, you're presenting things to us, so I don't know if that's something that you would present to us too.
That's a great idea.
If
So it's
that
not-
is something the council would like to entertain.
I think that's what we want. We're saying add to your thinking the idea of
Yes.
these other revenue sources, pros and cons, just like you've given us pros and cons on this, because they're not on the board, so we can't really, because I think you're asking us to choose, so we're just asking for more choices.
Yes, right now, we're bringing proposals to you with funding that we have. A ballot measure is an option. It will take time to get on the option, but it is not available and will not solve for '23. But it is an option that can be put out there. So there are things that we can talk about, but they're not money in hand.
In terms of a ballot measure, I mean, with the direction of the economy, we have no idea what the voters would do, so we can't rely on that. And then also with the utility tax, we're probably going to be in court for at least a year litigating that with the county. And I frankly have heartburn over trying to balance our budget using the backs of our neighbors to do that. So I've got some pretty heavy heartburn over that idea.
Again, what we're trying to bring to you is money that we have in hand so that we can resolve, at least move to the next stage. Solving homelessness and and we're not going to solve homelessness, but what does a post-pandemic shelter environment look like, and what should the city's contribution be to that? It's not just a 1 year, it's not just a 6-month or even a 3-month fix. What we're putting up there, and I'm very pleased with the discussion and how it's gone, is a 3-year phased approach of we need to start ramping down. We need to start having good community conversations with our providers and having a different expectation of them and our business environment and our neighbors. It needs to be a much robust community conversation, and that takes time.
Yep.
That takes time. Let me just show you very quickly, and then we're going to wrap up. Last 2 slides, affordable housing. Assuming the strategy that has been put in place to you, we wanted to make sure you are aware of just how much funding could be available for affordable housing, because the intent is not to short affordable housing. That's not the intent at all. But $1590 are available for homelessness when there isn't anything else right now that we're aware of. It hasn't come down the line. But you can see we can add a lot more sources to this key initiative that we have. And as Jen has pointed out, it is one of the top priorities in the plan. And we need to point to how we're addressing it. That even if you were to put funding to homelessness, there's still 18, 20, $24 million that could eventually accumulate for affordable housing. So there is a lot of funding that we could do there. We have a lot more flexibility, I should say, financial flexibility to address that and different means to address that, and still, I believe, achieve your desired outcomes.
A quick question, eligibility for those federal programs. So to me, our biggest challenge, it's not so much that we need shelter space, it's we don't have any transitional housing space. So people are just getting bigger and bigger footprints at the shelter because they don't have the next place to go. So what's the eligibility possibility for pallet housings, tiny houses, and those kinds of interventions as opposed to a full-on apartment building? Are those, because we could get those stood up pretty quickly relative to a giant
Are you
apartment
talking
building.
about from the home ARP and the CDBG dollars? So the home ARP dollars do allow for non-congregate shelter. I have taken a couple of webinars. I would have to look back and see if pallet shelters are an eligible cost for non-congregate or if it has to be a different type of facility. CDBG, I think that's something, again, it's one of our more flexible, so I think it's something that could be done. We would just need to kind of vet out what that looks like, and as usual, where does it go, and what does that land look like, and who owns it. But we could put that as an eligible in our RFP, and if somebody applied for it, that would be something we could fund.
Yeah, I would love to see that because I really think that's where the current gap is, and we wouldn't have to spend as much on homeless shelters if we had places where people could go and live if it was eligible. So love to hear the answer on that as soon as you have it.
Just really quick question. On the preliminary budget that you sent over, did you include the Trent operations and total costs on that budget?
That depends.
So, no.
That depends. There is no general fund funding it. So the answer to that from general fund is no. General fund is funding right now in the estimates all of our current operations. But in the 1590 fund, there is all of it appropriated is in the list. Everything that is available from 1590 is included in the estimate, but it's not intended for any specific use until you decide what that specific use is. So again, it depends.
After all that conversation, do we have any clarity around where the Revive contract money was coming from?
We have to decide that.
We'll have to decide that, okay.
So, just really quick, Matt Boston saying that there is an expenditure in the 1590 money in the preliminary budget of $8.8 million.
I believe the estimates, I don't have it right in front of me, but we did put appropriation in there, but it has no intended use.
Oh.
It's just like a loaded gun.
hold.
It's ready to fire when you say, pull the trigger.
Yeah. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Did you all have, again, a recommendation where the Revive funds would come from?
So in early September, again, it kind of goes to this piece. Early September, we did prepare an SBO, but it wasn't quite ready to go to committee yet because it was prepared when the provider contract came forward for you to approve. You approved the contract, but again, there's not sufficient funding to fund that contract through December. That was why that SBO that was accompanying was ready, but it hasn't been presented to you. Now we have this second contract for Revive, and again, it's presented, it's a contract that will go through December of '23, but there's not enough funding to carry it all the way to '23, just like there's still not enough funding to carry the Guardians through '23.
So
But that could change depending on how today went with this, because that SBO was using ARPA funding, additional ARPA funding.
So I'm confused about one thing, and I don't know if you have the answer or not. Okay, we know what we're up against right now currently with some of the issues with the operator. So what if that causes us maybe not to have an operator, right? I mean, how can we think ahead to providers when we're kind of in the middle of this wait and see? That's a terrible place to be and try and figure out numbers, but it feels like we're between a rock and a hard spot, because if we're looking at this and we're going to have to make some big decisions and approve contracts, but I'm not even sure that we're going to have the same provider that we have. I mean, I don't know how that gets done.
Mr. Perkins is lurking. It looks like he wants to come forward.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem Kinnear, Johnny Perkins, City Administrator. Councilmember Stratton, we are looking at all variations of options and contingency planning. I will tell you now, if there's a need to make any change at the shelters that are currently operated by the current provider at Cannon or Track, we will have a plan in place prior to any said change if that's necessary. That's not something that we think is necessary now, but we have contingency plans in case something should occur.
And any missing funding, will we be reimbursed for that? Will we?
There's a lot of things that are
That's
still
too far
being
down
looked
the
at
road.
right now, so we'll certainly report back when we know something more.
I have a question. Jen wasn't in a position to answer it, understandably, but my understanding is that we asked council to pass the operator agreement without having funding set aside, but we wouldn't do it on the services. And I'm just wondering why did we do one and not? Because it seems like they go together, like if you're really going to be effective. And I'm not asking you, Jen, because you are, but can someone tell me why one and not the other?
Well, I mean, I can't exactly tell you why, except for the immense pressure to get the track shelter open so that we could start relocating folks from there. But I can tell you from a financial best practice, that is very frowned upon to approve a contract without the appropriation being in place first.
Okay, well, I'll just comment, not to argue with you, but it seems like the services that are going to get actually people out of homelessness are just as important as relocating, but I understand that thing. And we'll hopefully on Monday have an SBO that will handle the Revive, and so we can get the services, and we'll give you that direction. But I think I understand now why it didn't happen, so thanks.
Thank you,
And
Tanya.
Yeah, and thanks for the conversation, the
Yes.
robust conversation.
You guys have been class acts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks, and I think we do look forward to having some more 3-on-2s or 3-on-3s to talk more about it. So thanks. And with that, we're well over time. We're adjourned. We'll see people on Monday.
Were you the one that I said?
Thanks for using